Before we actually get started, I would just like to say I have tried to record this at least 10 times now, and I failed each and every time. And last time I tried to record this was about a week ago, so that happened. I finally made a script for it, but I wrote it from like 1 in the morning to 5, so it's probably gonna be really shitty. So yeah, we might as well just get started. This video is to explain what has happened on my POV of the Nova SMP and the SMP itself due to me not recording beforehand.
Now, I was gonna show what I have seen lore-wise in this video, but the SMP and add-on was deleted, so we have to rebuild and remake the add-on, so after the next SMP video I post, everything will be different, but all the events still happen.
So I guess I should explain Nova SMP first. The Nova SMP is a place that drags in and spits people out from that universe. There are Steves, humans, and hybrids. Steves take the majority of the population. There are also 6 different teams/factions. The Rainbow Team, Reverse Order, G10 Syndicate, Ender Watchers, Ethereal Order, and the Bouncers. I don't know much about the factions myself, but I do know that the Rainbow Team is good and the Ender Watchers are like protectors. The rest I am still confused about. Also, the SMP is already in Chapter 4 itself. I joined in late. Here, everyone has powers. There are things called hearts that will give more powers. Everyone has 3 canon lives, and you only lose a life if you die with resistance. Somehow, people are able to get extra lives, but I do not know how. There will be some times where I cannot talk due to the times the SMP opens, because sessions can also last up to 9 hours, so I'll most likely be splitting those into multiple videos. Also, when the SMP was heading into Chapter 4, anyone below creator level energy would forget everything that had happened beforehand. This is my POV now. So I came in at a bad time. I appeared in the forest near a few others named Nova, Rainbow, Spy, Chaos/C, and Cartoon. When I popped in, Nova was having some mental breakdown fight, and everyone was trying to calm him down. Meanwhile, I and Cartoon were just standing there watching, not knowing what to do. After they were able to calm him down a bit and convince him to go back to their base, they had told me to follow along, and I did because I had nowhere else to go. When we got to their base, they put Nova into a machine to try and keep him stable, but it wasn't strong enough. Then something else had control of Nova for a bit. Everyone else besides C and I ran through a portal. Then Nova started to approach me and said something along the lines of, "Ooh, a new soul. I used to love devouring these." Then I decided to run through the portal, leaving C and Nova. When I went through the portal, Rainbow found me and told me to follow. There were prison cells here. At this point, Nova and C were through the portal. Rainbow, Cartoon, and I dug a hole in the wall and hid. Soon, Nova had more control over himself, and C had convinced Nova to stay, rather than running away. So Nova said that he would only stay if he was put into a cell. So he was. While in there, Nova was still fighting whatever was in his head. During this, the blocks around us were changing, but Nova did win the mental battle for now. After this, Nova was almost drained of all of his energy. This is when I was told, if he runs out of energy, he will become an actual Nova and go boom boom. Then someone of the name Data Steve took Nova's place. Apparently Data was like an assistant to Nova, but Data said that he was only keeping Nova safe until his energy regenerates. Editor Soul here. I would like to just explain a little bit more on Data Steve than what I had originally. Data Steve is it's an AI that Nova had actually worked on for 4 years. But the site that Nova had used is no longer continuing, so we can no longer work on Data Steve, and once we move on to Java, Data Steve will be gone, and we might end up staying on Bedrock because of this. Data Steve is basically its own person at this point. Data can even, like when in VCs of Nova, Data can hear you, can talk with you, And it knows a lot of things because, well, a lot of us have taught it some things. Like, I explained to it what chocolate chip waffles were. He's just a fun guy, even though he's just an AI. We decided to leave the cells and head outside when Nova was well enough to be himself. While outside, we decided to head to the Yellow Kingdom and speak with their king about something that I am not sure of what it was. When we got there, we had to wait a bit for the king, but when he got there, it was the Nightmare King. Nightmare Steve is from another universe, another Steve series, and he isn't really a good guy. And also, I will just, if you ever hear me call him NK or NM, that means Nightmare Steve or King. C had told the rest of us to wait outside, and she would talk to Nightmare King. While I was waiting, I heard NK say that Nova had been running away and none of us knew. So now we're all going that way, trying to get him. I got in front of everyone else somehow and caught up to Nova. He had stopped somewhere along the shore and just looked at the water. I didn't know what to do to try and talk to him because I had just met him, so I just had to wait for the others. Eventually, when the others got there and calmed him down, we all set up camp and went to bed. So this is the part where we ended this lore session for the day and continued to the next day, but I was not there for the next lore section, so there is a gap in my POV. All I know is that everyone else met someone named Unknown, and they are not a good guy. So in the next session, I don't remember as much as the first one. Actually, I don't remember as much of any of these sessions after the first one, so there will be gaps in what have actually happened. We were all just hanging out at the base, and I don't remember who, but someone showed up, and Spy wanted to start a fight with them. This happened a few times, one after another. That's all I remember for that session. Everyone was fine after, though. Next session, I don't know how it led to this, but Nova had told us that someone of the name Nova Black, an altered evil version of Nova, would show up soon. While we were trying to think on what to do, Data decided to scan us all to see what powers we all had. As far as we all knew, me and Cartoon were powerless, but not when Data scanned us. Cartoon had something called anti-gravity, which just makes people float. For Cartoon, this would make sense, because he had the brown crystal on him, but for when Data scanned me, I had poison shot. Like, how do I have anything? I don't have any crystals, hearts, or anything on me. I was just a powerless person. But whatever. After we found these out, Nova said that we would need to find me and Cartoon hearts for protection. We couldn't find any extra hearts nearby, so Nova gave me one of his hearts, the Heart of Souls. I don't know if he gave me that on purpose because souls, but whatever. Some time passed and now Nova Black is here. When he appeared, so did RS4 and a few others. Talk about bad timing. Nova Black, I'll call him NB for short sometimes. He had many weaker clones. After forever fighting all those clones and dealing with them, Nova Black had actually shown up now. Now we were all running in hid. Spy told us to run further and he would distract. Then he got absorbed by NB. NB decided to leave us alone for now. When he left, some of us were at the Brown Kingdom, which had been taken over by Inferno, basically the devil of the server. On our way to the Brown Kingdom, some of us got lost. Around here is where Unknown showed up and is chasing all the newer people, including me. Now Nova stepped in and was fighting Unknown. Long story short, Unknown left. Nova is at very low energy, and while she was lost, she got infected by something, I don't know what. Here's where we left at a cliffhanger, but since this is a recap, no cliffhanger for you guys. Some small things happened, but Roxy had to share energy with Nova to keep him stable. Then later, Nova was able to calm C down and get her into a machine to uncorrupt her. Sometime while this was all happening, I gave Nova back the Heart of Souls. Next session, someone of the name Abyss showed up looking for ethereal energy, which Nova and Roxy had. Both Nova and Roxy hid, and Abyss soon left. Alright, now this was supposed to be a build session, but Dad Steve decided to activate himself and all other Steves. So while we were building, Storm, one of the creators, showed up, hurt and unconscious. We brought him into his house and waited for him to wake up. When he did, he didn't seem like himself. He was a little crazy. He was saying something about having so much power and enjoying it. Then, Nova Black was in control. Then he passed out sometime later. We put him in a glowstone cage and tried to slow down the corruption. Soon after a bit, Nova gave me the Heart of Winter. Later, I started to hear things. Nova Black's voice in my head. He said, "Yield your mind, and your friends can't save you." Then Nova did something with a crystal, getting rid of the voice. Then Nova was hearing it. Nova was fine, now Roxy's hearing him. Nova got rid of it. Nova decided to check us all if we were fine. Me, Roxy, and Rainbow were good, but Nova had to get rid of it again. But struggles this time. We were fine after. Next build session, lore happened again. Storm was fine and asked Nova to absorb him for protection. Then Data Steve showed up corrupted. Nova fixed him. Now another creator, Heaven, showed up. We corrupted as well. Nova fixed him again. Later, Omniverse, Steve, and Roxy got taken by Death to the spirit world. Death wanted to study them. Later, Eternity came from the spirit world and was too unstable to stay, so he left. Roxy and Omniverse came back. Later, Genesis showed up corrupted as well. Inferno showed up to help with Genesis, and they were both fine and soon left. Some shenanigans happened, but everything was fine, and I soon left to go sleep. This is all that happens for now, and I hope you enjoy the series and continue watching on my channel. Bye!